And I'm going to minimize this right quick and pull up that. I want to see if the slide, see if the, I don't know if the PowerPoint has this problem on there or not, but I want to see if they got a difference between the 15-year and 30-year. Can't remember. Okay, I think we were doing this problem. Let's see if that's the problem we were doing. Yeah, we did this problem, right? Yeah. So let me go down and see if I can find the other one. You have a choice between a 30-year fixed loan, neglecting compounding, and changes in principal. Estimate your monthlies with ARM during the first year. No, that's not what I want. When they have to go 2 slides, I'll never. If you have to put the question on 2 slides, no. Okay, there's the question. But we're not going to do that one. I want to do a 15, and that's it, I think. Yep. Okay, so I'll get out of that and go to your homework. And we'll pull up a homework problem because there's 3 types of problems I'll put on the test. And one of them is car, credit card, loan, and mortgage. So let me go ahead and find your homework. I'm going to go to the chapter contents. Chapter 4, D for depression, and study plan. And I have no idea where these problems are, so I'll just have to find one. I'm just going to start, and I'll go backwards and forwards. Usually we start with a student loan. Gracious, why is it so big? Does anybody know why that's so big? Let me go to my, it's at 100%, so I don't know why that's so big. Okay. Okay, that's a credit card. That's a question that might be on the test. So you can go ahead and write that down right quick. Suppose that on January 1st you have a balance of $3,600 on a credit card. APR is 14%. We did one the other day, and I think it was 21%, which you paid off in 1 year. Assume that you make no additional charges. So that's a test question. So in your notes you have 2 test questions. I wouldn't write it down word for word. Just say P is equal to 3,600, R is equal to 0.14, N is equal to 12, and T is equal to 1. And that's a test question. I'm just going to keep going until now, see, when one like this, I'm not going to give you one like this on a test because they're asking the same question, but they're doing it in 15 sentences, and they want you to do a chart and all that. I'm not going to do that. Golly, it seems like it's running slower, and I'm not going to do that one. Compare the monthly payments and total loan cost of the following pairs of loan options. This is one I would give you. Assume that both loans are fixed rate and have the same closing cost. All right, so one, I don't know why this is so big. Has anybody got any idea why this is so big? I don't know why it's...
Press that little gear thing on the
Ah, there we go.
You see it under 0?
I got it. There we go. This is the question I may be looking. There it is. There's the question I'm looking for. So write this question down. This is a test question. I'll probably give you a couple of these on the test. And it says, compare, you don't have to write, just say compare the two. Okay, and then the two options are $170,000 loan at 30 years at a R is equal to 0.10, and a 15-year loan with an APR of 0.095. Now, of course, N is going to be what? N is going to be 12, because 90% of all of our payments are on monthly payments. Your car payment, the only one I can think of that's not on a monthly payment is your car insurance. Car insurance is every 6 months, so that's semi-annually. Okay? But, so if I was doing car insurance, N would be 2. All right? So, in most 90% of your loan payment, credit cards, mortgages, N is going to be 12. I want to make sure you understand that. All right, so the P is 170,000, the T is 30, and R is 0.10, and then T is 15, and R is 0.095, and N is 12. So hopefully y'all got your loan. I'm going to go ahead and go to the, y'all got that written down yet?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
one
sir.
of you. Just, if you want to, if you don't want to mute and unmute, just go to the chat and type yes or no. I can do that. That's a whole lot better for some of y'all. I'll turn the chat on. There we go. And just type yes if you can see it, and that way you don't have to turn your mic on and off and all that. And the mic is not a big deal, just the video. That's the biggest deal. Okay.
How do we get to chat? Oh, never mind.
There it is. Yeah, it's on the lower left-hand corner. And Miss Danda, now I don't want you to think I'm being antisocial. When you call me, it messes up the presentation thing because you're calling me so you can present. So I don't have students call me, when I'm having a class. I have to call them in so the presentation will work better. Okay? Yeah, I heard you a while ago, Miss Dandenau. I heard you when you spoke a while ago, I think. Okay. Just whatever. Anyway, because I've had students do that before. They get on early and they call me on Skype, and I decline it. And I hate to decline it, but the reason I decline it is because if I accept that, then I'm not the teacher. The student is the teacher. And that messes up the presentation and just messes it all up. Okay, so I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write this information down while y'all are still looking at the problem. And N is equal to 12. And everything is pretty much, and P is equal to 170,000. And I'm going to draw a line right down the middle of the page. And on one side, T is equal to 30. And R is equal to 0.10. And on the other side, T is equal to 15. And R is equal to 0.095. So I'm going to go to the handy dandy. And the reason I'm spending so much time on these, I'm spending 2 days on these. I've spent Wednesday on it and today on it. It's because these are the questions that I'm going to really hammer on the test. This and the savings account questions. I may put a few of the, the IRA and the retirement questions, but mostly the compound interest. Compound interest I'm going to hammer. I'm going to hammer these and the tax problems that we're going to go over in 4E. But anyway, here we go. So that's what we got. We're going to use our formula. How is that lag? Is that lag better? Let me write something. I'm writing, put a star. Okay, I just drew a star. How is the lag on that? Better, worse?
I don't see a star.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't see a star yet.
Oh, my gosh. I guess it's lagging even worse then. Okay, do you see the t is equal to 30 and r is equal to 0.1?
Yeah, the star just came up.
Okay. So there's only about a 5 or 10 second delay now. All right. So anyway, so this is going to be A is equal to 170,000 times R over N over, and this is the only time I'm going to plug it in because after this I'm going to do everything on the calculator. 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.10 over 12 raised, and let's go ahead and do the math in our head. 30 times 12 is 360, right? Yes, Hubert. Okay, so that's that one, and that's A 30 years. So now we're going to do A of 15 years. So that's going to be 170,000 parentheses 0.10 over 12. Now I'm writing this as I'm speaking. So if you want to feel experimental, try to count and see how many seconds it is before I write something, when I write something down. Brackets, 1 minus parentheses 1 plus, and that's going to be that's going to be 0.095. 095 over 12 raised to the nt. Well, in this case, n is 12 and t is 15. So 15 times 12, 15 times, okay, that's 150 plus 30 is 180. Somebody check with me on that. Negative 180. So that should be your two formulas. And I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator. I got a calculator. I'm going to use the calculator on this one, but I got a calculator on my phone, the Wabbit EMU for of course Androids. Apple, y'all can't have anything. You have to buy everything for an Apple phone. But anyway, if you go to Wabbit EMU, see, I think I got it on here somewhere. I used to. Anyway, I'll go ahead and pull it up. I'll shut up. It's Wabbit, Wabbit EMU. You can, if you got an Android phone, you can, and you can do it on your computer too. You can download the TI. So I'm gonna pull this guy up. And as far as writing on paper, you shouldn't have to because you know how to use your calculator. And I'm going to take my, I wish it would quit showing that. I don't want to check for notifications. Okay, so clear. Here's our handy dandy calculator. And I'm going to go ahead and do the top, 0.10 divided by 12. And that's, now you can keep that. I don't know what you would call it. It is a fraction, so we could call it F. Because you see, let me move this over a little bit. Okay, you see, let me take my handy dandy, I got a fluorescent orange there. Woo. You see that fraction is right there and right there. So if you wanted to, you could say that stow as alpha, and somebody tell me where F is, because these things are so small. DEF, is it cosine? Yep. I'm going to call that my fraction. Enter. Okay, now you can use that F now instead of typing that in down here. But that's just up to you if you want to do that. I really don't care. All right, so clear. And now I'm going to take 170,000 times alpha F, and that's equal to that number. So I'm going to stow that as alpha numerator, which is, I think it's log. Enter. Y'all got that? Now, just for video purposes, I'm going to write the numerator, A of 30 is equal to, and that's going to give me 1416.66 repeating. I'm only doing this because for the video, that's why I'm doing it. Usually, if I was doing this problem, I would do all of it on the calculator. And some of you might want to write the numerator over the denominator so you can check your work or whatever, but usually you don't have to do that. All right, so here we go. We're going to work on the denominator now. So I'm going to clear that. And I'm going to say alpha F plus 1. That should be what you get for the inside of your parentheses. And I'm going to raise that caret symbol to the negative 360. And then I get that. Everybody with me? And then 1 minus second negative symbol, answer. So the denominator, I got 0.9495 blah, blah, blah. Everybody with me? Yes, Hubert. Okay, so I'm going to stow that. What the heck? Oh, I didn't know it made a sound. Okay, answer. I'm going to stow that in alpha D. Oh, not alpha B. Alpha D. Can't see those little letters. You just have to see my computer to understand what I'm talking about. And enter. And I'm going to write that on here for the video. 0.9495 dot, dot, dot. And now, just take your handy dandy alpha N divided by alpha D. And now we come up with a monthly payment of $1491.87. Is that what y'all got? Okay, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down as I say it. And I want you to tell me what kind of delay it is for y'all to see it. A of 30 is equal to 1491.87. How long of a delay is that?
It just started writing it.
Okay. So about what, 5 to 6 seconds?
Yeah.
Around there.
Per month. Okay, so if you want to know how much you really paid for that house payment, $170,000, you'd multiply that by, let's take that red marker and multiply by this, how many monthly payments. Because that's basically what that number is right there. At 360 N times T, that's your monthly payments. So you would multiply 1491 times 360, and somebody do that for me. Oh, I can do it right here. Times 360 equals good gracious alive. Well, well, that's a 10% interest. You don't get a house payment now at 10% interest. You're lucky if you get any interest at all, about 3%. I know my house several years ago when I refinanced, I got mine at like 3.5 or 4%. So 10% is kind of high. But the homework generator, it just throws a different number in there. It doesn't think about common sense. It just throws a different number in there. So that would be, I'm going to write this number down, 537,073.81. So you got ripped off on that deal. That bank should be reported. Minus 170,000. Minus 170,000. And let's see how much you paid for that loan. You paid $370,000 to borrow $170,000. What's wrong with that picture? Now let's do the other one. So I'm going to go and I'm going to change my fraction. That's going to be 0.095. So clear 0.095 divided by 12. So there's my new fraction. So I'm going to stow alpha F. Okay, so I'm going to multiply that now times 170,000. And that is my new numerator. So stow alpha numerator. I'm going to write it down. 1345.83. Repeating. A 15 is equal to. All right, let's do the denominator. And the denominator is going to be clear. It's going to be that fraction. So alpha F plus 1 is equal to that number. And we're going to raise that number to negative 180. And that's going to be 0.24, and then 1 minus second negative symbol, and that's your denominator. So stow alpha denominator. I got a cat that likes to climb things. I thought I heard him climbing something. All right, so that is 0.7581. 0.7581. And ... because you don't want to cut them off. That's why the calculator is so important. You don't have to cut things off if you know how to use your calculator. All right? So, clear alpha N divided by alpha D. Is there a delay with the, can't find D. Is there a delay with the calculator, or is it just the document cam? Okay.
I don't think there's one.
Huh? 1775.18.
Yeah, there's a delay.
No, with the calculator. When I do the calculator, is there much of a delay on the calculator than it is the document cam?
Yeah, because there's numbers popping up even though you're writing.
Okay, so the calculator has the same delay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means that it must be the internet getting it to y'all. So, which is understandable. I mean, you're in Honeypath, or let me make sure. I got to make sure. Are you in Honeypath or are you in Belton, Mr. Fuller? I got to make sure that states. Huh?
I'm in Honeypath.
Okay.
Honeypath.
Honeypath. All right. Oh, Honeypath. So you're good, depending on where you are in Honeypath. If you're before the Clean Skills Farm, or if you're after the subway, it depends on where you're at, or if you're toward Williamston, or not toward Belton, or toward Williamston, whichever. It's still a good, 35, 40 minutes away. So I guess a 5 or 6 minutes, 5 or 6 second delay is not that bad for being 30, 45 minutes away. All right, so let's multiply that by how many? 180. So I'm going to multiply that by 180. And we've paid $319,000. So multiply that by 180, and the 180 is your monthly payments because of that number right there. And that's going to give us $319,532.75. As you can see, now we're gonna do this a little bit more. I'm gonna change a number for you, and I want y'all to do it, or we'll do it together because save time. This is kind of outlandish because of this number. That's kind of high, and this is kind of high right now. The Fed just dropped interest rates right when this coronavirus thing started, and I think they dropped it. I think it's like 2% now, or about 2% that you can get a loan, and a lot of people are taking advantage of that because of refinancing. I guess I should, but I just don't want to have to go through all the paperwork. I'm an anti-paperwork person. I can't stand all that stuff. Anyway, that's kind of high. So what we're going to do is we're going to redo this problem. We're going to do it together, and we're going to do it at 3%. So that means that this one would be maybe 0.015, no, let's see, that would be 0.03. So 0.025, no, yeah, 0.025. So we'll do this one at 2.5%. So that would be 0.025. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to do this. Now, I also would tell you this, and this goes for car payments, and this is very important. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write this down on the next page. I'm going to rewrite everything while y'all are working. But I'm going to get this to move. I want you to write this down. I want you to remember it because this is not a test question. This is not a standardized. This is life. Okay? Less payments is good. Okay? Less payments is good. Now, you may not like the monthly payment. The monthly payment may be higher, but the reason that less payments are good is because you're paying off the interest slower or faster? Faster. Now, I'm going to go back here. What is all this? You just borrowed $170,000. So what is this? And what is this? If you just borrowed $170,000, then what is those two numbers right there? That's interest that you're paying the bank. So that is what the bank is making off of your loan. So the quicker you make payments and the more the payment is, you're paying off the interest what? Faster. The trap for cars, houses, credit cards, I like you. I want to get your payment as what? What do they say? Okay, hold on just a second. Yes, ma'am. I want to get your payment as what as possible? Can somebody tell me what that word is? They want to get your payment as low as possible because they like you. They're trying to help you out. But what are they actually doing? The lower the payment, the more years, and then what? The more you pay in interest. Knowledge is what? What have I taught y'all? Especially in 109 and knowledge is what? Starts with a P, O, W, E.
Power.
Power. Knowledge is power. Thank you, Miss McBride. You listened. Okay? Knowledge is power. I guarantee you that there's only 6 people in this class right now. I guarantee you that somebody did not know that. You don't have to say anything, but I guarantee you there's somebody in the 6 people that didn't know this right here, and that you are paying interest on that $170,000, and it's based on the 2 numbers here, the rate, and the what? The time. That's what it's based on. And you ever been to a jewelry store? Oh, you know what? I like you and you're my friend, so I'm going to give you half off. Well, what they neglect to tell you is when they bought that piece of jewelry, they marked it up 300%. So if you take half off of it, that's 150. They're still making 50% what? Profit. Okay. Same thing with car dealers. Same exact thing. So let's do it with 4% or 3% and 2.5%. Okay. So I'm gonna rewrite everything. I'm gonna let y'all work while I rewrite. and get my next page up to snuff. N is equal to 12, and P is equal to 170,000. I'm going to divide it in half, and T is equal to 30. T is equal to 15. R is equal to 0.03. R is equal to 0.025. I think that's everything. Yep. So just for instructional purposes, I'm going to plug it in. A of 30 is equal to 170,000, parentheses, 0.03 divided by 12 over 1 minus, parentheses, 1 plus 0.03 divided by 12 raised to the negative 360 power. So technically all you have to do really is just change the fraction and redo the calculation. Okay? Over here, A of 15 is equal to 170,000 0.025 over 12 divided by 1 minus, parentheses, 1 plus 0.025 divided by 12 raised to the negative 180 power. The reason I'm not making it bigger is because I'm trying to do two birds with one stone. I'm trying to show you all the calculator and the plugging and chugging at the same time. All right, so I'm going to clear this, and I'm just going to redo my fraction. 0.03 divided by 12. And I'm going to multiply that by, I'm going to store that, alpha F. The reason you see me going down here in the right-hand corner all the time is because in my classroom, the calculator is this big and the enter key is down here. So you'll have to excuse me there. All right, so I'm going to multiply that by 170,000. And punching with a mouse is about aggravating. So that's 425. So A sub 30 is equal to 425 in the numerator. So I'm going to stow alpha numerator. Enter. Clear. Fraction plus 1. Alpha fraction plus 1. That's 1.0225 raised to the negative 360 equals 1 minus second negative symbol, and that is my denominator. Stow alpha denominator. 0.59297. 0.59297 ... You keep that in your calculator. So your monthly payment with a 3% loan is going to be alpha numerator divided by alpha denominator, and that's equal to a payment of $716.73. and multiply that by 360. $258,000. $21.67. Little bit easier number to swallow, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right, now if you hadn't done 15 years, go ahead and do 15 years. Because all you got to do is change the fraction. So 0.025 times, not times, Dort, divided by 12. And there is my new fraction. So STO, alpha, cosine, times 170,000 equals. So our numerator is equal to 354.16 repeating. And I'm going to stow that in alpha numerator. And now I'm going to take my fraction, I'm going to clear everything. I'm going to take alpha f plus 1. And that'll give me my parentheses in the denominator, raised to the negative 180 and that's that number, and then 1 minus second negative symbol, and that's my denominator. So alpha denominator, and that's 0.31244, 0.31244 dot dot dot. And your monthly payment is clear alpha numerator divided by alpha denominator, and that is a payment of $1133. Thing always like my payment. 0.54. Now, of course, let's see how much we paid for it. Times 180, because that's how many payments you got. So multiply that by 180. So you pay in $204,037. So now you're getting it down, and just to give you an idea, minus 170,000. You only paid 34,000 for that loan. Knowledge is what? Knowledge is power.
Power.
That's why you got to remember those three or four rules. I can't remember what I said before, but one, nothing is free. Two, champagne taste, beer budget. There was one more I gave y'all. I can't remember what it was. Knowledge is power. And I guarantee you there's some of y'all that have never seen this before. Why? Because there's a lot of people that think you don't need to know it. Because the more stupid you are, the easier it is to control you. But I didn't say that. That's just my own opinion. So, you got to remember this. With a credit card, with a student loan, with a mortgage, with a car payment. This right here, let's take I'm using different colors. Let me just mark this out with black. You see this right here? That's BS. What they're trying to get you to do is sign the contract for 6 years on that car instead of 3 or 4 years. What they're wanting you to do is sign that 30-year mortgage instead of a 15-year mortgage. Okay? So when you get out and you get a career and you get out of college, you get out through with your vocation or your diploma or your certificate or your degree, and you get a job. And you get a job that pays salary full-time, not part-time cashier at McDonald's or part-time cashier at Kohl's. You get you a career, and you get 36 to 80,000 or hopefully more a year, insurance, benefits. You get an actual job, okay? Then, when you go out and you buy yourself a little house instead of an apartment, you go to the bank and you say, look, they say, how much can you afford? You don't worry about how much I can afford. You just let's just do a 15-year plan and a 30-year plan. And let's see which one I like. And then you decide. Okay? You don't let somebody tell you, I like you, or I want to try to help you out. That's bull crap. They just want to get you committed for 30 years or 6 years instead of 4 years on a car. And the credit card companies, that's a scam. Credit card companies make car salesmen look like angels. Okay? Credit card companies, they're right next to insurance as being a scam. And when I say insurance, sometimes I think insurance is a scam because you pay more on the deductible than you do dadgum pay for the car to be fixed. But anyway, that's just me. Anyway, anybody got questions? Y'all can turn on your microphones now. Anybody got any questions, comments? Anybody surprised at what I just showed you? Or did everybody already know that? Okay, y'all not going to talk to me. Nothing changes. All right, I'm going to shut down the recording.